The vow shattered. The champagne glasses clinked like fragile bones underfoot as I stood in the shadows of the church vestibule, my daughter's laughter echoing from the altar where she pledged her eternal love. 8 years of lies hung in the air thicker than the scent of lilies, and there she was, my wife, Elena, radiant in her mother-of-the-bride gown, her arm looped through the arm of the man who'd stolen her from me night after night. I clutched the envelope in my trembling fist, photos spilling like venom from its seam, her tangled in sheets with him, dates stamped across the betrayal like fresh wounds. Our daughter, oblivious, beamed at her new husband, but I saw only the ghost of my own wedding day, when I'd whispered vows to a woman already half gone. The injustice burned hotter than hellfire. 8 years of raising a family on fractured ground, me the fool playing provider while she played the field. No more. Today, at the pinnacle of her facade, I would shatter it all. Revenge wasn't a choice. It was the only justice left in a world that had chewed me raw. The first crack appeared on a rain-slicked autumn evening in 2017, when Elena's phone buzzed like a hornet on the kitchen counter. I'd been elbow-deep in dishwater, scrubbing plates from our daughter's 7th birthday party, the kind of domestic drudgery that had become my anchor after years of climbing corporate ladders only to fund her endless girls' nights. She snatched it up too quickly, her manicured nails flashing like claws, and her laugh, that forced, tinkling laugh, cut through the steam. "Just work," she said, slipping the device into her purse. But I saw the flush creep up her neck, the way her eyes darted to the window as if escape routes were already mapped. I didn't confront her then. No, that would have been merciful, a clean break. Instead, the doubt festered, a slow poison seeping into my veins. Nights blurred into weeks. I'd lie awake listening to her steady breathing, replaying the signs I'd ignored for months. The late meetings, the sudden gym obsession that sculpted her body not for me, but for someone else's gaze. By day, I was the pillar, packing lunches with notes of encouragement for Lily, our daughter, attending parent-teacher conferences with a smile that masked the gnawing void. But inside, rage brewed, a black storm cloud swelling with every perfumed hug she gave me upon returning home, her breath minty fresh to cover the lie. It ate at me, that knowledge I couldn't yet prove. Work suffered first. I'd stare at spreadsheets, numbers dancing like mocking specters, my mind replaying imagined scenes of her in his arms. Promotions slipped away, colleagues whispered about my distraction. Friends noticed the hollows under my eyes, the way I'd snap at casual questions about marriage. "Everything okay with Elena?" Mark asked over beers one night, his concern a knife twist. I wanted to spill it all, to let the venom out, but no. Revenge demanded silence, a coiled serpent waiting to strike. I began the hunt in secret, hiring a private investigator with savings meant for Lily's college fund. The first report arrived like a gut punch. Timestamps, locations, a grainy photo of her car parked outside a seedy motel on the edge of town. Torn between justice and destruction, I sat in my car outside that same motel one midnight, rain hammering the roof like accusations. Part of me screamed to burst in, drag her out by her hair, expose the whore she'd become to the world. Lily's face flashed, innocent, trusting, and I imagined the fallout. Custody battles, her world crumbling before she even understood puberty. Destruction would orphan her emotionally, turn me into the monster I despised. But justice? It whispered sweeter, promising a reckoning that spared the innocent. I drove home instead, the photos burning a hole in my glove compartment, and for the first time, I slept with a pistol under my pillow, not for her, but to remind myself control was mine. The burden shaped me into a shadow of the man I'd been. Family gatherings became theaters of torment, holidays, where Elena played the doting wife, carving turkey with hands that had caressed another. Lily, oblivious, clung to us both, her gap-toothed smiles a dagger. "Daddy, why are you sad?" she'd ask, curling into my lap during movie nights, and I'd choke back the truth, whispering, "Just tired, kiddo." But the lie corroded me further. I distanced myself from everyone. Mark's invites went unanswered, my sister's calls curt. Isolation was armor, but it chafed, leaving raw sores. Elena sensed the shift, her touches lingering longer, as if affection could suture the rift. Once, in a moment of feigned passion, She straddled me in bed, murmuring, "I love you," her eyes glassy with guilt or calculation. I nearly broke then, nearly let the fantasy of normalcy win, but the scent of his cologne, faint, damning, clung to her skin. I pushed her away, feigning exhaustion, and in the bathroom mirror, I saw a stranger, gaunt, eyes like chipped flint, plotting. Years ground on, the affair a marathon of deceit. Reports piled up, hotels in neighboring cities, weekends visiting her mother that traced to his lakeside cabin. I documented it all in a locked journal, entries scrawled in fury, dates, details, the casual cruelties like her forgetting our anniversary yet remembering his birthday with lavish gifts from our joint account. It drove every decision. I funneled money into Lily's future, a trust fund ironclad against divorce, while skimping on joint vacations to starve Elena's excuses. My health crumbled, ulcers from stress, nights blurred by whiskey that dulled the ache but sharpened the hate. Lily bore the brunt indirectly. My overprotectiveness smothered her teenage rebellions, turning her from bubbly girl to wary adolescent who confided more in her mother, the very serpent in our garden. One intense night in 2022, as Lily's high school graduation loomed, I stood on the balcony overlooking our manicured lawn, the city lights mocking my entrapment. Elena joined me, wine glass in hand, her silk robe slipping to reveal the curve he'd claimed. "What's eating you, Tom? We've been drifting." Her voice, soft as sin, cracked my resolve. I could end it. Divorce papers drawn, alimony slashed by proof of infidelity. Justice without spectacle. Or I could wait, let the poison mature until it felled her empire. Nothing. I lied, pulling her close, my hands on her waist like vices. In that embrace, destruction tempted, a shove, a fall, an accident, whispered in court. But Lily's laughter from inside anchored me. No, the wedding, her crowning joy, would be the stage. I'd let the rot spread, feigning normalcy, all while sharpening my blade. The burden lightened not with time, but with purpose. Revenge wasn't erosion, it was evolution, forging me into the avenger she deserved. By 2025, the noose I'd woven tightened around my neck as much as hers. Lily's wedding day dawned crisp and golden. The vineyard estate, she'd chosen, a sprawling testament to the life I'd built on sand. Guests milled about in pastel finery, Elena's social circle, oblivious to the rot beneath her polished veneer. I'd played my part flawlessly, toasting the rehearsal dinner with a smile that had clenched teeth, dancing with Elena under string lights, as if her hand in mine wasn't a brand of betrayal. But the envelope, now a thick dossier of 8 years' worth of evidence. Photos, transcripts of love notes intercepted via hacked emails, even bank statements tracing gifts to her lover, Victor, thrummed in my tuxedo pocket like a second heart. It had consumed me wholly. Sleep was a luxury lost to visions of her humiliation, decisions dictated by the calendar's march toward this moment. I'd turned down a job transfer that could have saved our sinking finances, stayed rooted to witness her fall. Lily, radiant in white, had hugged me that morning, whispering, "You're the best dad ever." Her words a fleeting balm on the gangrene of my soul. The ceremony unfolded like a cruel ballet. Vows exchanged under an arbor of roses, Elena dabbing tears with a handkerchief that hid her smirks to Victor, seated smugly in the third row, his wife none the wiser. I sat rigid, the sun baking my rage into something molten. How it affected those around me crystallized in fragments. Lily's bridesmaids gossiping about my distant demeanor, my sister pulling me aside post-ceremony. "Tom, you're scaring people. What's happened to you?" Her eyes, pleading, stirred a flicker of regret, but it snuffed out against the inferno. Victor's presence was the spark. Catching his wink to Elena during the photos, I nearly lunged then, fists itching for his smug face. The pursuit had isolated me further. Friends faded, family fractured by my secrecy. Lily sensing the undercurrent but attributing it to wedding stress. She'd confided in me once, tearfully, about boy troubles, and I'd held her, vowing protection, all while plotting to detonate the family she'd cherished. Torn between justice and utter destruction, the cocktail hour became my crucible. Elena approached, glowing, clinking her glass to mine. "Our little girl's all grown up. We've done good, haven't we?" Her words, laced with false nostalgia, ignited the storm. Justice meant a quiet divorce, financial ruin for her alone. Papers served post-honeymoon, Victor exposed to his own family. But destruction? It howled for spectacle, for her empire to crumble amid applause. Lily's joy hung in the balance. One wrong move, and the shrapnel would scar her forever. I excused myself to the guest house, hands shaking as I laid out the dossier on the oak table. Photos fanned like accusation cards. Her in lingerie, his texts begging for more. A single call to my lawyer could unleash it all. Media tips, anonymous leaks to her PDA circle. Or I could burn it, walk away the ghost. Sweat beaded on my brow. The man I was screamed for mercy, for the family intact, but the avenger laughed, reminding me of sleepless nights, of birthdays alone while she lied. The turning point came not as softness, but as a brutal truth that solidified my path. Slipping back to the tent for the reception, I overheard Victor in a shadowed corner, boasting to a colleague. 8 years, and the old man's none the wiser. Elena's mine, ring or no ring. His laugh, guttural and triumphant, sliced through me like shrapnel. No kindness here, no redemption arc, just the raw confirmation that mercy was for fools. They'd mocked me, used me, built their joy on my back. Destruction it would be, justice too tame for such serpents. I returned to the head table, microphone in hand for the father of the bride's speech. The crowd hushed as I began with anecdotes of Lily's childhood, tales of scraped knees and first steps, my voice steady, drawing laughs and sighs. Elena beamed beside me, Victor toasting from afar. Then the pivot. Lily, you've grown into a woman of grace, much like your mother appears to be. Pauses hung heavy, but grace is earned, not feigned. I held up the dossier, projector cued from my phone, images blooming on the screen behind us. Elena and Victor, entangled, timestamps glaring. Gasps rippled, Elena's face drained to ash, her champagne flute shattering on the tile. 8 years. I thundered, voice cracking with the weight of it all. 8 years she betrayed us, lied to your face, Lily, while I raised you on scraps of truth. Chaos erupted, screams, Lily's wail as she clutched her gown, guests surging like a tide. Victor bolted, but I blocked him, whispering, "Run, you coward. Your wife's next." Elena lunged, nails raking my arm, begging, "Tom, please, not here." But her tears were acid, fueling the fire. I let it burn. Emails read aloud, her lover's words dripping like poison, the crowd a jury pronouncing silent verdicts. The confrontation peaked as Lily confronted her, mother and daughter locked in a tableau of shattered illusions. "Is it true, Mom?" "All of it." Lily's voice broke, and Elena crumpled, Victor dragged away by his own kin. No punches thrown, but the exposure was 1,000 blades, social annihilation, her job whispers turning to shouts, Victor's marriage imploding in real time via frantic calls. I stood amid the wreckage, chest heaving, the burden lifting like smoke from a pyre. Lily turned to me, eyes stormy. "You destroyed us, Dad." Her words stung, a final scar, but in that pain, victory bloomed, pure, unadulterated. In the aftermath, as ambulances wailed for Elena's breakdown, I walked the vineyard alone, the sun dipping blood red. The cost was etched in Lily's glare, in the family photos now tainted, but revenge's nectar was sweet, a balm on wounds too deep for time. It had reshaped me, not into a hero, but a survivor, unbowed. The bitter harvest. In the end, revenge carves a throne from the bones of the fallen, but the victor sits alone, crowned in thorns that draw blood with every breath. Moral of the story. True justice demands a spectacle so devastating that the betrayer's screams echo long after the applause fades.